Boxing truth here. Jarrett Hurd is now the king of the junior middleweight division. But it's a damn shame that he almost got robbed by incompetent Las Vegas judges. The Vegas judging is something to look out for when you want to take some action. And I took action on the smartest bet tonight. The most sure bet, which was Jarrett Hurd defeating Erislandy Lara. Got a little payday out of it, but, it was unbelievable that Hurd had to knock Lara down just to get a split decision, just to get a 1-point victory, which was complete bullshit. It's not surprising the majority of opinion thinks that the fight was close, it was razor thin, that there's even people making a case that Lara won. It's couldn't have been more clear cut that Jarrett Hurd won the fight, walked your boy down, busted him up, knocked him down, beat him up, bullied him to the ropes, landed more shots, landed combinations, worked him to the body. He whooped Lara's ass, gave him the worst beatdown of his whole career, and yet people actually thought Lara actually won that fight. I just give up when it comes to a lot of boxing fans' opinions of who they thought won the fight or how the fight played out. Here's my opinion. Jarrett Hurd won 10 rounds in that fight. You can say he definitely won 8 rounds, but you can argue he won 10 rounds of that fight. I had a 10-2 for Hurd. Pretty lopsided because that's what it was, and I'm sure Hurd felt the same, that he was dominating the fight. He was in complete control, because in reality, he was in complete control of that fight from round 2 onward. There was a couple of rounds, swing rounds, after the second round, where Lara had some good moments, but Hurd was very active, very busy, was landing a lot of shots. So Hurd's activity really trumped some of the sporadic clean shots that Lara would land. There were too few and far between, which is why I felt Lara edged as many as 10 rounds in the fight. But Lara did show heart, he did show a lot of toughness, but what he really showed is that he can take a good ass whooping, and you taking a good ass whooping is not going to give you extra credit on my scorecard. You can argue he won as many as 4 rounds, but that's even being generous towards him. But he put it on the line. He came to fight, he came to win. Whether he decided to fight toe-to-toe, I really believe Hurd just wouldn't allow him to fight the way he wanted to fight. Lara's legs is not what they used to be. He didn't do much moving in his last fight prior to this. So to me, that's a sign that he's declining physically. He can't move like he used to, like in the Angulo fight. He can no longer fight he can only fight at a certain pace. So Hurd uses youth, he uses physicality, he used his punching power, his strength, his size to wear Lara down. That's exactly what happened. Lara is delusional if he thinks he wins that fight, but he's a proud warrior. His fans are delusional, or people that thought he won the fight. I got to get your eyes checked. But it was a good fight, entertaining fight. Finally, Lara was in a good scrap and it was anticipated it was going to be a good fight because Hurd had the ability to challenge Lara physically. Over the past few years, Lara's been taking it easy, fighting opponents that won't challenge him, and that's why they're complete bore fest when you watch those fights prior to the Hurd fight. So Hurd was at least the deservedly right winner of the fight. He got the nod by some bullshit scores, but the right man won. That's the most important part. And now he is the shot caller at 154 pounds, and he's the best junior middleweight in the world, and he's looking for money fights. He's calling out Kell Brook. That's a great fight for him. I got Hurd knocking Brook out if they ever fight. I don't expect that fight to go down anytime soon. I expect Hearn to try to do that build up to an Amir Khan fight. So Jarrett's gonna have to look elsewhere for opponents. He's got 2 belts now. There's mandatory is gonna be in place. There's a Jermell Charlo fight that's anticipated. There's an eventual move up to middleweight. He will like to fight the big names in the middleweight division. Jermell Charlo is also in that division. Danny Jacobs. There's a lot of options for Jarrett Hurd, and he needs to decide what's the best course of direction. Whether that's a Charlo fight, the second quarter of the year, I would favor Hurd in that matchup. I got Hurd beating every 54 pounder in the world, man. I wouldn't pick not one 54 pounder to beat him. Not Jermell, not Saddam Ali, not bum ass Julian Williams. Whoever's the more worthy fights for Hurd to take in the 154 pound weight class. So not much business to take care of in that division for Hurd. I say try to get the Charlo fight as soon as possible. He wins that, he might as well just move up to bigger fish to fry. I'd love to see him in the middleweight division. There are some good fights out there for him. And it's going to take a middleweight to see a really strong middleweight to really put a dent in that armor, because Swift's Jarrett Hurd is a storm. Keeps coming, doesn't stop, wears you down, beats you up, and man, I can't wait to see his next fight. He's the man at 154 pounds until proven otherwise. As for the other fights, really glad I didn't take action on that Caleb Truax fight. I thought it was just too tricky of a bet to take. Vegas judging. I don't really have a problem with the Gale winning the fight. I didn't really score it that accurately because it was a very dull fight. But I didn't see much action. I didn't see Truax have the performance like he did in the first fight. And the Gale pretty much hung around and maybe edged it and got his title back. But that's all he needed to do to get his title back. Make it competitive, stay in there, and have a better performance than he did in the first fight. He was able to capitalize, and now he got his strap back. But going forward, it's going to be a nightmare for him. Any top-level fighter he fights at 168, he's going to get his ass whooped. He fights Benavidez, he's going to get knocked the fuck out. He fights Ugatowski, he's going to get knocked the fuck out. So, you better ask for that exemption from the IBF if they enforce Ugatowski on him. Because otherwise, that's another beatdown waiting in the wings for James DeGale. You might as well just cash out with the winner of George Groves, Callum Smith, or even get Eubank Jr. in the ring to get the biggest payday out there you can get. Because James DeGale's days as a fighter at the top of the division is over. He's got to find the best right opportunity for him. Otherwise, he fights Ugatowski at Benavidez, it's going to be a shellacking. Julian Williams, he is what he is. A top 5 contender, but not championship level. He's just an okay fighter. But he had a solid performance against Gallimore, who I thought would give him a tough fight. I didn't make a pick, because I didn't watch enough of Gallimore, but it was a decent fight. Gallimore ran out of gas. Julian was the more experienced of the two. He was able to outlast Gallimore to a solid decision performance, but not very. He doesn't have that wowing factor. Wasn't impressed. He's just not that good, and I don't see him beating any of the 54-pound champions. Whether he gets another title shot in the future, if he goes after her, that's a knockout waiting to happen. But a solid night of fights on Showtime last night. Some bad scorecards from the Vegas judges. They gotta hire some new judges, man. Those old cats, they wash. Burt Clemens, Dave Moretti, all them cats are just consistently turning in trash scorecards. They need some new talent, new recruits. I mean, y'all can hire me, man. I'm one of the best judges out there. Call it straight down the middle. A lot of people get butthurt about my scores, but it just shows you that I'm objective when it comes to the scoring. I give you the real score, the actual score, not some corrupted score like these officials keep turning in. For example, this Jarrett Hurd, Erislandy Lara fight. It was a 10-2, 8-4 type fight. Lara was nowhere near close to winning that. But props to both guys for giving us a good action fight. A rematch is not needed. Don't need to see it. Lara will get knocked out in a rematch. Hurd should move on to bigger and better things. And he's the shot caller at 154. Y'all let me know what y'all think about the fights last night. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.